That's 672-5763. Now, your host for Public Pulse, Floyd Whiting.
Good morning and welcome to Public Pulse. Now, September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. This is a time to raise awareness of this stigmatized and all too often taboo topic. We use this month to shift public perception, to spread hope, and to share vital information to people affected by suicide. The goal is ensuring that individuals, friends, and family have access to the resources that they need to discuss prevention and to seek help. In 2021, research found that over 30,000 active duty personnel and veterans who served in the military after 9/11 have died by suicide. That's compared to the 7,000 service members killed in combat in those same 20 years. That is to say that military suicide rates are 4 times higher than deaths that have occurred during military operations. Many of us know someone who has died by suicide. Friends, family, fellow veterans. And joining me from the Sheridan VA healthcare system is Public Affairs Officer and my friend Christina Miller. And from the Suicide Prevention Program, Kevin Parker. Good morning, and Kevin, welcome to the show.
Great, thank you.
Now, jumping right in, some real tough numbers to hear. How do we even grasp something, a problem this big, you know, when so many of our veterans are staying quiet about it until it's done?
Well, I think that's one of the major problems and things that makes it hard to actually understand is like people do stay quiet. You know, they don't really talk about this stuff. They kind of have this idea of like, oh, I just need to keep my mouth shut and keep my head down and I'll grit my way through. And so for someone on the outside, you know, like non-veterans or even just people in the community, like all we see is outward perception. And so if things look fine, they probably are fine, you know. I think it's not really until it becomes real for individuals are they even going to like begin to understand or grasp the concept of how big a deal this is.
Yeah, until it hits home. Mm-hmm. A friend, a family member. Kevin, what inspired you to take this position? This is not an easy job that you have, my friend.
No, it's not. You know, I honestly don't know that I have a good answer for that. It kind of just happened. My goal was always to work with veterans. So that part was planned. I think when I was in 6th grade, I decided I wanted to be a counselor.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a counselor specifically to work with veterans. I was kind of one of the rebellious children in my family, and I didn't enlist. And so growing up, I just remember watching a lot of my family members, like my dad, uncles, cousins, grandparents, all veterans, just all struggle in very different ways from one another. And as like growing up and as a kid and a young adult, I was like, this is garbage. Like, why are they having such a hard time? And like, why does no one care? Like, to me, that was like a big thing that like really stuck out. I was like, apparently no one cares. So that's dumb. I want to do something about this.
Yeah.
So suicide prevention specifically is something that I kind of just fell in my lap, honestly. It wasn't something I was particularly looking for, but turns out I'm willing to have uncomfortable conversations. And so that apparently is a good skill to have in this area. So.
Yeah, you are on the front lines, my friend. Yeah. You know, you might not be a veteran of like military combat, but you're a veteran of combat right here at home. Because, you know, as a veteran, and I think I can speak for at least the people that I served with, the battle is ongoing. Mm-hmm. And you say that you watched your family suffer in so many different ways. And for me, I'm still in contact with the majority of individuals, you know, watching each other's lives over social media and where are we? You know, we deployed almost 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, my gosh, but we're all still struggling in our own way. And so that's really, it's something that's very hard to describe for like our listeners out there. But veterans will know what I'm talking about. When you see your fellow veterans suffer, I know what the root of that is. I know that one. That, maybe I carry that one, or maybe I've seen that one, but I know where that root of that behavior is coming from. And so I can understand that as well. Everyone carries the bucket in their own way. Now, why do you believe that there still exists this stigma around death by suicide?
Well, for one, I think it's really difficult to even just admit that we're having a hard time with something, especially when there's so much in society or expectation to be good at something or be the best, especially looking at it from, a military's perspective. Like, you guys weren't really trained to struggle with something. You were trained to succeed, figure things out, and do hard things, And so saying to even a stranger or saying to a mental health professional, hey, I'm not doing well, like, kind of goes against everything that was like trained into you, or, in some ways beaten into you, kind of like, it's just, and military or not, just as human beings, it's hard to say, I'm having a hard time.
I need help.
It's hard to ask for help. Like, it legitimately takes a lot of strength to ask, oftentimes, a complete stranger for help.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that I often think about is that even in the military, you were used to, if you had some kind of injury or something, here, have some ibuprofen and, get back to work.
Drink water, drive on.
And that's even with a visible wound, that you often were given this, how quickly can this person get back to their job?
Yeah.
And so then you remove the visibility of a wound, and it's like, yeah, right. There's nothing to see necessarily. And so it's even a further stretch on, this concept of not being all right, because you don't even have a visible wound to see.
That you can evaluate. Yeah. I had a squad leader, great guy. Glad I had him as my squad leader, when we were over there. And I can tell you that I told him to go get his shoulder looked at for 6 months. But nope, man, tough. I can get through this. I can do that. And he would go into the gym and work that shoulder out, convinced if he just punished it a little bit more, it would come around. Mm-hmm. And he has since had shoulder surgery too, if I remember correctly, by this time. But it's that mindset that you're talking about. I'd tough this out. All I need to do is just push on it a little harder, and I'll overcome this. Mm-hmm. And again, as you said, an injury that we cannot see. And that's a physical one. Mm-hmm. I could see that because I knew his behavior, and he's picking that up. Yeah, there he goes. He's wincing. I could see that.
Yeah.
But if he, like so many others, if they're tortured inside, I just put a smile on my face. Maybe not even a smile. Maybe we're going out today, so I don't want to smile. I just bury that a little bit deeper, and everything will be just fine.
Crack a few more jokes.
Crack it. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we're so willing to do this with physical ailments, like, imagine how more frequently this happens with mental health or emotional states. Ignoring signs of depression. Like, man, I felt hopeless for the past 5 months. I wonder when this is going to end. And just like, it's always kind of just on the edge, and we just keep pushing away. Like, no, I don't want to look at that, or I don't want to deal with that. It'll go away eventually if I ignore it. But it doesn't. Like. How do mushrooms grow? You keep them in the dark and you feed them crap. Like, it's the same thing with our mental and emotional health.
And it, like you said, it is always going to be there. It's always this rock trailing attached to your foot. And yeah, you can still run, but boy, it makes it a lot harder to do so. And that weight just gets heavier and heavier with every step that we take. Removing stigma. Have you seen signs of this stigma decrease over the years as we've, because the VA has been pretty active about this. Christina, I don't know how many times you and I have talked about this. I've had Dr. Tran in here. I've had a lot of great professionals in here to talk about this. And the stigma is always, the elephant in the room. And we're always talking about how do we get rid of it? So has all of this work and all of this talk that we've been doing helped at all from what you see out there and in here? Is the stigma slowly being chipped away?
I would say absolutely. Yeah.
You would? Okay, that's
for
great.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's still so much work that needs to be done, but it's getting there. Even just, so in 2020, 343 fewer veterans died by suicide compared to 2019. And also, I think 2020 had the lowest number of veteran suicides since 2006.
That's fantastic to hear.
So
it's decreasing.
Yeah. So we're moving, forward a little bit at a time. There's still a lot more that needs to be done, but like it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is that by no means is this a VA effort. There's so many amazing nonprofit organizations.
Yeah.
I get them in my Facebook feed all the time, and I know they're legit, and they're chipping away at it too, and that's so massive. The fact that there's so many, and most of them are veteran run organizations, but they're like they are doing their part too, because it's not just one entity can shift the tide. It's all these different entities plus the community saying we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
And we're going to say it's okay to talk about it. I mean, one of the coolest things I've seen is in some VA trainings and stuff. And actually, my director, she started it out with, "Hey, everybody, I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, 'Are you thinking about hurting yourself?'" And she goes, "And I know it feels uncomfortable, but getting those words out of your mouth when you know it's safe to, because we're in this environment, is a practice for if you have to say it to someone you love or care about. Because getting those words out, and I'm in that position. I had to say it to someone I loved, and it was those words that what are the exact words that I need to say, and I struggled with it, and I'm like, how do I get those words out? And I said it out loud a few times, and then I asked it to the person, because those words alone were just so powerful and difficult, and doing things like that, getting those words out of your mouth. And it's something the suicide prevention team, I'm sure, gets a lot of, it surprised me when I had to ask it to the person I love, how they said, yes, and I have been hurting myself. And then all of a sudden the floodgates opened. And later they're like, I couldn't believe how easy it was for me to actually just open up after you said those words.
But you had to climb that mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the burden sometimes is on the other person to see someone, recognize someone is struggling, and yet it sucks. It hurts to say it to someone you care about. But what's the flip side of not saying the words?
What's the alternative to that? Yeah. Now, I know, I'm going to ask this next question, but it's so varied, and sometimes there are no signs. But what are some signs someone may be thinking about committing or death by suicide?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I mean, you're right. It is varied. It can look completely different for each person, because suicide is such a complex issue, and human beings are complex.
Yeah.
Like my depression isn't going to look like your depression, and so if I'm in a bad spot, it might look totally different compared to someone else, and what they look like when they're in a bad spot, mentally or emotionally. But a number of just kind of some of your basic things, symptoms of depression, are like someone just presenting or even saying like, "Hey, I feel hopeless," and just that kind of persistent, ongoing sense of hopelessness or despair. Or, for other people, it could look like increased agitation or anger, basically kind of any shift in mood and affect compared to what this person's normal baseline is could be an indication that maybe things aren't okay right now. Oddly enough, I think a lot of times people who have decided that they're going to do something or they're going to make steps to end their life, once they make that decision in their head, kind of feel a sense of peace and might even have an uptick in their mood, because like, oh, I know an end is coming.
I found my way out.
I know that this for sure is going to be temporary now because I'm going to do something about it. And I know when I'm going to do it and I know how I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I can even testify to that. Once the decision is made, it's like a sense of relief.
Mm-hmm.
And everything, it doesn't make everything okay. But when you see your light at the end of the tunnel, or you believe that is your light at the end of the tunnel, then all the problems finally, don't seem to matter.
Right.
Because it's the finality of it. And the finality of it is the selfish part. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, suicide's selfish, and it is. But it's that thought just before you follow through that, well, what are they going to think about me?
Mm-hmm.
What is this going to say about who I was? And then you think, in 2 minutes, it's not going to matter.
Right.
It is, because my reality and my perception of everything in this world is done.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be finished, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And
because I'm not going to feel guilt.
Right.
I'm not going to feel any more sadness.
Yeah, for the person who's just made that decision or about to do that, like, this is the end. Like, everything else is just done from here on out. Like, I'm good to go because I don't have to worry anymore.
Yeah.
And yes, there is that, that sentiment that suicide is incredibly selfish and things like that. And I'm not necessarily going to argue that, but the way I try to look at it is like, okay, yeah, sure, but how much pain must this person be in if that's what they keep coming back to?
Exactly.
Like, because honestly, suicide is an option. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a horrible option, one of the worst ones, but it's an option.
Let's look at this reality.
And so let's look at people who are considering it. Like, man, how much crap must they be going through? How hard must things be if the finality of killing yourself seems appealing?
Yeah. Where they just don't see any other road.
Mm-hmm.
No one can save me from this hole. I have dug this, or this was dug for me, and I am in it, and this is it.
Mm-hmm.
There's.
Well, and one of the stories I heard that's, I saw a video of an interview with a lady, and she said, she was talking about the selfishness thing, and she said, all I could think of was how better off my kids would be without having to deal with me and the things that I've been going through. And because I have a great family, I have this, and I know that they'd be cared for and supported and loved. And she's like, all I could think of was they are absolutely better off without me. And that's what she had come to was, which is kind of like that whole reverse of the selfishness of, people around me would be better off.
I am taking care of my family by doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am making their lives better because they don't have to deal with my junk anymore. Exactly. All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue with the Sheridan VA, and we're going to talk about the 988 number that can help. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
At Eliason Financial, money management isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about dreams and opportunities, and more importantly, family. We'll take time to get to know you. Then we'll develop a unique wealth management plan that works hard, just like you. To learn more about who we are and what our wealth management advisors can do for you, visit Eliason Financial online or call 307-672-3010. Securities offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Wyoming Corporate Office is the trusted business choice behind thousands of businesses. Whether it's business formation, payroll, corporate paperwork, mail scanning service, or small business phone service, Wyoming Corporate Office powers over 100,000 businesses worldwide and locally. This makes Wyoming Corporate Office the state's largest business-to-business service provider, located right here in Sheridan, Wyoming. If you're drowning in corporate paperwork looking for someone with an unmatched experience that cares and wants to be your partner in making your business successful, trust that Wyoming Corporate Office can help you focus on what makes your business tick. Learn more today by visiting WyomingCorporateOffice.com.
It's fall. Hi, Kurt Smith here for the Sheridan Commercial Company. You can't go wrong when you turn to the Sheridan Commercial Company for helpful supplies for fall projects like weather stripping, caulking, insulating, and heat taping, finishing up any exterior painting and staining projects. Make sure to check all your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, as well as checking your fire extinguishers. We're your locally owned hardware store and have been since 1892. The Sheridan Commercial Company at 303 Broadway, open 7 days a week.
Cowboy football hosts the San Jose State Spartans on October 1st in a Saturday night showdown. Kickoff is set for 5:30 p.m. Arrive early and check out the men's basketball open scrimmage at 3 p.m. in the Arena Auditorium before the game. Get your football tickets today at GoWIO.com or call 307-766-7220. We'll see you at War Memorial Stadium on October 1st as the Cowboys take on the Spartans.
ERA, Carroll Realty, Wyoming Corporate Office, and First Federal Bank and Trust ask you to help them fill the bus with food again this Saturday for the food group for the nearly 700 school children assisted with weekend meals. It's as easy as finding the food group bus this Saturday at Ridley's parking lot from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and donating a food item from the food list that you will find online and on location. Cash donations are always welcome. Come on, let's fill the bus this Saturday at Ridley's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Life can be fast-paced and it can be hard to get things done, but we're here to help make your home loan process easy. Hi, this is Whitney Sweeney, mortgage loan originator at First Northern Bank of Wyoming. While we'd love to see you, we also offer an easy online mortgage application to help apply for a home loan in just minutes. We offer competitive rates and can get you pre-qualified same day. Visit firstnorthern.bank to start your application today or give us a call at 673-HOME. We look forward to helping you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124841.
Can't get rid of that wave. It's just crazy. Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at Eliason Financial. With me this morning from the Sheridan VA Healthcare System is Public Affairs Officer Christina Miller, and from the Suicide Prevention Program, Kevin Parker. We're discussing suicide prevention. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and this gives us a time to raise awareness on this stigmatized and all too often taboo topic. Tell me about the 988 number, Kevin.
Yeah, sure. So 988 went live in this past July. So basically it's the same the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is the 1-800-273-TALK, I think is what it was. You know, it's long, it's hard to remember, especially if you're in a crisis, like,
right.
Oh, I'm going to remember all these numbers, you know. They basically just simplified it and turned it into 988, you know. 3 numbers, super easy to remember. If you're a veteran or calling about a veteran, you press 1 and it connects you directly to the Veterans Crisis Line. But again, this is a nationwide number that is for veterans or civilians alike. And it's free, it's confidential, it's 24/7. And I think it's just one like very specific way that we can just make accessing care a little bit easier.
Yeah, you can be alone in your basement, you can be alone in your truck. Mm-hmm. You can pull your phone out, 988, and just have someone to talk to. Maybe you just need to talk to somebody for a minute.
And, you know, and there are also like different options. There's chat options, you know, you can text as well. Or you can call on the phone. And even the older number, still active. It's not going anywhere. It's not going away for a long time, you know. And so it's not like we lost one resource and now I have to remember this new one. No, they're the same. It's just 988 is easier to remember.
This just gives us a faster way to get there.
Absolutely.
Now, Christina, we also have the Reach Out campaign. That's kicking off. Tell me a little bit about that.
We do. So, as we've been talking about, is the stigma and things like that of suicide. But really, what we talked about before was the importance of these different community entities doing all they can to get the word out there.
All of us coming together
All of
as
us
a
coming
team.
together. This campaign, this is the second phase. We started out with coffee shops here in Sheridan. This second phase is actually the bars. And as you can imagine, our bars have been super gung-ho to take part in this. And
That's
so
great.
all the bars that are interested are getting coasters from us with the this campaign on the front, the really cool image, which I should have brought to show on the camera. And then on the back is the Veterans Crisis Line and a reminder that it's for anyone to use to help a veteran. And what we're hoping is that people will go visit the places that they might normally pick up one of these coasters, take a picture of it, take a picture of it with themselves, and put it on their own social media. And the big ask is that they say, "Hi, my name is Christina. If any of the veterans out there that are on my social media network channels are struggling, please reach out to me." Not call the crisis line, not call the VA, not go, wherever else they might go. Reach out to me because I want to be a resource for the people I care about. And I want, me personally as a veteran, I want veterans to know that they have this community of people that they're already connected to because they're going to start seeing this. And that's what I'm hoping is that they'll people will go to these bars, see these coasters and be like, okay, this is kind of cool. It's a cool graphic. And yeah, it's no skin off my back to tell the people that I already, whether they have a closed network and have it locked down or whatever, hey, to all my friends out there, if you're struggling, before you do anything crazy and take a step that is you can't get back from, I want you to reach out to me. And that's why it's a social media hashtag reach out to me. And we hope that people will tag the bars that they get them from to give them some love because they're so gung-ho to.
I mean, they're stepping up too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the other cool thing is that we're offering all the bars training with Kevin and his teammates to have these difficult conversations because we know people go to bars when they don't feel like they have anyone else to talk to. And the bartenders are I feel like it's almost a calling to be a bartender because they're naturally good listeners.
Yeah.
And so we want them to be empowered to know some signs and what to say. And so that's one of the things that we're offering with this as well.
I can tell you right now, Christina, I did. I went to the bars. Mm-hmm. I went straight into the bottle right after coming home. It started out as a way to cope, a way to sleep. And the next thing I knew, it was completely out of control. And to have someone trained, I'm not saying that they're going to solve everything,
sure, but
maybe they would have been like, hey, you know what, man, you ever thought about taking this step or maybe going down there? And maybe, who knows? Maybe I would have thought just a little bit harder. Well, maybe, gosh, the bartender's telling me, maybe, So I completely agree and really like this program. Is this national or is this local?
This is local. We would love it to go national, but this is our Sheridan team. It came out of an idea that started this small, actually from one of our other suicide prevention folks. And then we got with a designer to create a cool design, and then just it grew and grew. And as we tell more people, we even briefed the governor's office, and they were excited. Department of Health was excited because there was so much interest in a different approach.
Yeah.
So much of what we say is and this is many organizations. Oh, if you're struggling, reach out. Well, what about the people that are on the other side who see something that's not quite right?
And they feel almost powerless, right?
Yeah, and it's on us as individuals to see if we see someone struggling to take that step. And that's why we call it the big ask, is because it's uncomfortable. Like I told you in the first portion of the show, I practiced when I had someone I loved that I had to ask. I practiced. I researched, even though I'd been through all the VA trainings and whatever. What are the exact words? What if I screw up? What if I don't say it quite right?
Yeah.
And it's scary, but I don't. Never will someone regret asking that question if it leads to someone coming, opening up. And I never in a million years will ever regret asking the question because I don't know if anything would have happened if I hadn't asked that question. But I'm not willing to turn back time and
right. And why would you want to take that chance, right?
And so that's what this is all about. Is if we truly want to make a difference, then we have to get through that hurdle of that uncomfortable feeling. And, and social media is a great thing because even if someone doesn't reach out after you post the message, even if it's just, oh, that's pretty cool that my buddy is saying they're there for me, and they want to share the Veterans Crisis Line because they're concerned about all their veteran friends. It says something to a person, and maybe it prompts them to think about whether they need to talk to somebody. And you never really know, and it doesn't take but a few moments.
No effort is wasted. No effort is wasted.
Absolutely.
And if this entire campaign only helps one person, then it's been worth every single drop of sweat put into it.
Absolutely.
Hands down. Kevin, what other programs up at the VA can help someone come back from this dark place?
Yeah, so actually the VA has just a wide range of programs, ranging from just mental health, medical needs like doctors appointments, things like that. Mental health specifically, there are residential programs that focus specifically on substance use disorders, PTSD, or co-occurring disorders. Because a lot of times, not one thing doesn't just exist in a vacuum.
Right.
We've got trauma and alcohol, and like just these things kind of mix together to turn into this, overwhelming monster in people's lives sometimes. And so there are residential programs for that. There's also plenty of options in terms of outpatient therapy, to address anything from anxiety, depression, substance use, PTSD, suicidality specifically. And it's just whatever someone is dealing with, whatever someone is shouldering, like that doesn't have to be done alone. No one has to suffer in silence. And all of these things, especially suicide, they're preventable, And so, like for me, the big thing is just letting people know, like, there are options, Don't wait, reach out. Don't wait until this stuff becomes so overwhelming and insurmountable that you feel completely isolated and like you have no other option but to end your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things that a lot of our counselors talk about is it's not a one size fits all. That's why there's so many types of therapies. And sometimes the first go around doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't stick, but that's okay because we have these other options. Just like anything else you do in life, if you have choices, it's because maybe one thing isn't fit.
Yeah.
And so there are people that have been through one program, thought things were good, and then it ended up not being the right route, and then they came back. And that's one of the things our team is so cool about is they're like they enthusiastically welcome people back if they've been through the program before, because it says so much more about their dedication to being strong and trying to make that change. That that didn't work for me, but I want to make another go at it through another therapeutic intervention.
And I'm going to let anyone out there who's listening and feels that they're alone, I want you to know that you're not. I reached a point in 2015 where I attempted, and when I woke up from that, I made the decision that, okay, well, if we're going to live, then we're going to live a life that's worth living. So we need to hit the reset button and start all over. 35, 36 years old, I made this decision. And it took me 2 years of really hard work, really deep therapy to go through this. But what was my other option? It was either this or check out. So I might as well give this a shot. I might as well just say, you know what? What if I did go all in at the VA? What if I did give them a chance? Well, I gave them a chance. And I can testify that it works, because I had nowhere else to go. And I realized when I got down there, I'm not only not alone, but they care. They really care. Kevin, I know you got to go. I greatly appreciate you coming in and speaking with us regarding this stuff.
Happy to be here, man.
And, I hope all your trainings are just fantastic.
Hope so, too.
All right, when we come back, we're going to continue with our Sheridan VA healthcare system. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
At Eliason Financial, money management isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about dreams and opportunities, and more importantly, family. We'll take time to get to know you. Then we'll develop a unique wealth management plan that works hard, just like you. To learn more about who we are and what our wealth management advisors can do for you, visit Eliason Financial online or call 307-672-3010. Securities offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Are you wondering what your business is worth, or have you considered buying or selling a business? Contact me, Alicia Cox, Certified Valuation Professional at Harker Mellinger, to discuss how a business valuation can help you determine the proper values in gifting, estate planning, and the purchase or sale of your business. Harker Mellinger has been providing professional valuation services since 1995. Schedule an appointment today to discuss how a business valuation can work for you. Harker Mellinger, located at 1811 South Sheridan Avenue in Sheridan.
The owners and staff at Kane's Funeral Home would like to thank the families of Sheridan and Johnson counties for choosing Kane's and allowing them to serve you during these hard times. Kane Funeral Home makes it their mission to take the stress and uncertainty out of ceremonial services. They own and operate the only crematory in Sheridan County, so your loved one is always in their care. Kane's Funeral Home. Call 673-5837 or visit them online at canefuneral.com.
The leading orthopedic group in Northeast Wyoming and Southern Montana, Sheridan Orthopedic continues its over 50-year tradition of surgical excellence and patient care, including surgeons who have completed subspecialty training and prestigious fellowships. From sports medicine to upper extremities such as complex shoulder, elbow, and hand surgery, spine, knee surgery, and joint replacement, Sheridan Orthopedic serves the community with emergency care 24/7, 365 days a year. Some same-day appointments available. Visit us at SheridanOrtho.com.
Bye-bye, my good boy. Be good while we go on vacation.
Parents get so uptight leaving us precious pets behind, but when they leave us in the quality care of McGraw's Paws, they really have nothing to worry about. We get lots of love and attention from the trained staff. This place is so nice, clean, safe, and pretty darn comfortable, so we dogs and cats have a good time while they're away. Plus, it's in a convenient in-town location for our humans.
McGraw's Paws, 1820 Gabriel Court, next to Second Chance Cat Rescue. Call 307-381-2184. We're taking in-advance reservations.
Stop by McDonald's on Coffee Avenue today for a hiring day event. Stop by anytime from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and interview for a number of positions, full and part-time at McDonald's. Take advantage of the numerous benefits, including the Work Today, Get Paid Tomorrow benefit. Stop by McDonald's on Coffee Avenue anytime today from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. for a hiring day event at McDonald's on Coffee Avenue.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at Eliason Financial. I'm Floyd Whiting, and with me this morning is Sheridan VA Healthcare System Public Affairs Officer Christina Miller. We had to let Kevin Parker go. He's got appointments he's got to get to.
He does. He's a busy guy.
He's a busy guy. Now, the Sheridan VA, ladies and gentlemen, is turning 100 years old. That is amazing.
It is, and we know there's a lot of people in the community who've lived here for generations, and they may recall hearing a 100th anniversary before. That's because in 1998, we celebrated 100 years of the fort.
Okay.
And so what we have one of our engineers actually is a historian by passion, and he found out that we took our first patients in 1922. And so we're like, oh my gosh, 100 years of caring for veterans, that's pretty phenomenal. And so we started looking at what can we do, how do we honor and celebrate a century of taking care of veterans. And we started looking at trying to have this event. Of course, COVID's this weird, wonky up and down thing, and so we decided we would have a community event. It's outdoors. It's this weekend on Saturday, October 1st, and kind of like a fall festival thing. And we're going to cross fingers and toes for the weather. But at the end of the day, what we kept coming back to, we didn't want it to just be a VA like resource fair. We have those every once in a while. We used to have them where we'd have VA programs put out their stuff and people could come get them. We wanted it to be a celebration of the community that we live in and serve, because I don't think we could have gotten to 100 years of caring for veterans if we didn't have all the community support we do. We have so many community organizations that we either formally or informally partner with and collaborate with, and I feel like that's a humongous part of the care that we provide to veterans. But also, too, we have people who are multi-generational VA employees. I have a coworker who's third generation.
Oh,
I think his daughter works for us now. She's fourth generation. And you don't really see that a lot of places, other than like maybe the Ford Motor Company type, those big.
Right.
And that says a lot about the community that we live in, to have people love it so much and love doing what they do, that their children and children's children continue that service. So yeah, this event has gotten even bigger than we could have hoped for. We have 3 car clubs. So we have the Cars Club, we have the Model A and Pioneer Car Club, and the Bighorn Crawlers Mountain Club, 4x4s. I mean, so we got a little bit of something for everybody if you like cars.
That is way cool.
Oh yeah, we have blacksmith coming. So we actually have a blacksmith down in Buffalo, for people who didn't know, Arrowhead Forge. He's going to be putting on a demo and getting people excited about, back in the day of blacksmithing and using an old forge. We have food trucks. We have 2 food trucks, Mario's Tacos and Cheese Curds of Wyoming. And on that note, we also have a coffee truck, because, we got to have our coffee,
we
too.
live off of it.
So Colombian guy coffee van. But the other cool thing is that any veterans who are enrolled in the VA just bring their card up and they will get tickets for free food, meal tickets.
Oh, wow.
So we're excited about that. And prizes, we're going to have some door prize kind of things. We have lots of kid stuff, too. We're going to have pumpkin decorating, bounce house. We're going to have, I think Rooted in Wyoming is bringing a worm bin, which is always fun for the kiddos. And then we're going to have fly fishing competition, like a fly fishing challenge. That's from Project Healing Waters. And
great program.
Oh, yeah. And they're national. They have a local chapter in our area. They're going to be facilitating that. We have an RC car challenge. So we actually have RC cars that were donated, and we purchased some from a national organization whose name I can't remember. But
I can tell you who started that up at the VA.
Yeah, I was going to say
he was one of my guys.
Well, and I was going to say that's how it started with some of our employees. That's another whole show.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have that. We're going to have these cool cars. We're going to have a photo booth, and veterans there've actually been veterans in our programs that have been learning photography, and as part of their recreational therapy outlets.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be applying those, and we're going to have a little set up for some cool portraits that people will have available for capturing.
That is way cool. I like that.
Live music. We have I think 4 different, just local, not groups per se, but local musicians who perform around in various areas around the area. And free root beer floats from AARP, which in itself would be a draw for my family if there was nothing else. And then flu shots, because flu time is here. So we thought we'd throw in some flu shots.
That is great.
Anybody wants to go ahead and get their flu shot. So, and that's for veterans enrolled in the VA, and even staff. So staff knows they can go out and get their flu shots, because we just got them in.
So where is all of this going to actually be taking place?
So it's going to be outside on our campus. So if you go onto Fort Road and make a right, you will see signs. So we actually have this big picnic area. In fact, it's going to be right next to our community garden, which people will be able to see. There will be a new fence that's being put up this week. Rooted in Wyoming has been a great partner on that. There's some amazing garden stuff in there as well that has been harvested for the most part. But so if you're familiar with the community gardens there, it's basically heading towards the primary care area where most people are familiar.
So Rooted in Wyoming has a garden up there for the veterans?
It's not their garden, it's a community garden, but they've been partnering with us to develop it more.
Oh,
and they've
cool.
brought in, we're really excited because, of course, they have all these resources and people, including the master gardeners that work with them. And so they've been doing training with our veterans to help them get more, less scared to try gardening.
Yeah.
Our goal is actually to have the garden not only still available for the community, because any veteran can come request a plot when it comes season again, but we actually have a portion of the garden specifically for our residential program, and they grow things that they turn around and then make food with our nutrition team.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah, it's really cool, and that's been a fun partnership. They've been awesome bringing up that expertise. And this is the first year of it, so we're really excited because we've got some lessons learned, and making sure the rabbits stay out and all that. So they're helping us out with a fence for it. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting.
Now, you don't have to be a veteran to go up here and take part in this.
No. Actually, we're hoping, although we know a lot of people have a connection to the facility, we have about 600 employees, so we know that a lot of people have some connection. But no, absolutely, we want the community to enjoy it. Like I said, we've got all these kids activities and stuff for the adults and stuff for the adults who like to play around like kids with the RC cars, and so it's going to be fun for anybody. I think I feel like we've got something for everybody.
Now, what time do I need to head up there?
So 10 o'clock is when it starts, and it goes till 3. So if you want to start up early before the crowds, you're welcome to, and then stick around, listen to the music, chill out. We're gonna have seating and stuff so people can listen to music and eat, and then or come later in the day if they want to get their morning off with something else and swing by after lunch.
Now, just one more real quick question. I'm running out of time, but I just want people to know: can we go up there and kind of look around at the historical buildings, look around and explore the VA a little bit?
So we do have what's considered an open campus. So it's unlike a military base where, you have gates and everything. We really discourage just meandering around on campus for safety reasons.
Yeah.
But there's actually going to be hay rides, and you're going to get to, if you get on one of the hay rides, which is free, then you'll get a hay ride tour of some of the areas.
Fantastic.
So that's a great way to go.
A great way to look around at the facilities. Mm-hmm. Been serving veterans for a century. A century. Now, one more time. I want people to see this because I've got plenty of stickers. Folks, that is the reach out to me. If you see that out there, take a photo with this. Pick up one of the stickers or one of the coasters, and you can put this on your social media and maybe have a veteran reach out to you. Christina, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you.
It.
All right. You've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
At Eliason Financial, money management